Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to the Another Nobody podcast with me, your favorite nobody, Tavis Myers. Today we'll be doing volume 2 of Question Travis, and again I will be answering a few questions from those of you who wrote into questiontravistoday@gmail.com. Again, these are the ones that usually I think need a little bit more of an answer than the 1 or 2 minutes I occasionally give at the end of the show each week. Okay? When I answer the questions that you guys write in from out there in listener land. So, without any more nonsense, let's get with it. Our first question is from Alex W., who she's writing in from Port St. Lucie, Florida. And she asks, "Hi, Travis. I am a regular listener and I enjoy the variety of guests you have on your podcast. This is my first time writing in, and I'd like to ask you how you stay so positive with all the things you've seen and been through in your life." She continues, "I lost my husband 2 years ago in a car accident and have a 5-year-old daughter. My younger sister was recently diagnosed with breast cancer. I really hate my job, but I can't seem to find another one that pays as well as this one does, and all I see is negativity in the world. Do you have any advice for staying positive?" All right, Alex, it sounds like you have an awful lot on your plate right now. And I know it often seems like the whole world is coming down on your shoulders. I'm certainly no therapist, but I can share with you my outlook on life and maybe share a few thoughts and habits of my own to help you get through the day. All right. And I say, get through the day. And why I emphasize get through the day is because I really believe yesterday has passed and there's nothing you can do about it. All right. Losing your husband was certainly a tragic and traumatic experience for you and, of course, for your daughter. But that was in the past. And I don't know you at all, Alex, but if you are ruminating on this loss and you just can't let go of it, you're doing yourself and your daughter and everyone around you a disservice because it is now in the past. Okay? And all you can do is remember your husband fondly and lovingly because life does go on. There's no getting around it. Life goes on. Now, as far as tomorrow, planning for the future is really smart. Something you definitely should do and most definitely need to do, okay? But worrying about the future, that, my love, is pointless. And why I say this is because you never know what the future holds, okay? And worry, I believe, is nothing more than self-imposed negativity. So plan, yes. And please, make good, intelligent, well-thought-out plans, and keep in mind, okay, that they will always change. But worry, no, okay? Again, worry is self-imposed negativity. Now, I know your problems, as for many of us, weigh on you like an anchor around your neck, okay? Your future, your little girl's future, your sister's cancer diagnosis, a job that you hate is all just, God, it's just a lot to deal with. Plus, the state the world is in, I mean, local, national, world politics constantly being shoved down your throat can also be a lot. And it just adds to such a stressful existence. And I know sometimes it seems absolutely insurmountable. But my advice, and it may sound a bit flippant or trite, but I promise you it isn't, is simply to stay positive. Again, I'm not being a smartass here. I personally have for decades now forced myself into or to follow this concept of PMA, or a positive mental attitude. All right? And yes, you don't have to be born with it. You can definitely cultivate one. All right? So, what is PMA? PMA is a mindset, okay, that emphasizes optimism, resilience, and focuses on solutions to problems. Even the toughest of situations, okay? It's the idea that approaching life with positivity creates and attracts better outcomes. And it absolutely boosts achievement and helps to overcome whatever obstacles you're having. Both real life obstacles like your work life, personal economics, family relationships, and building a future for you and your daughter, but also those imaginary obstacles like worry and rumination on the past, things that have nothing to do with today or moving forward in life. So, how do you lead a more positive life, you might ask? All right. For me, it's the following. Number one, accepting that life in the world is unfair. You have to accept it. Then put forth the best, most positive version of yourself that you can, and do this every day. It can be done in many, many ways, but to keep it simple, every time you interact with somebody, be kind, be generous, have faith that most people are usually pretty decent people, okay? And are either going through or may have experienced many of the same things that you were going through yourself. In other words, things are tough all over. All right. Here are some simple tips on how to live a more positive life. Add a little gratitude to each of your complaints. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, you know, my God, I can't believe in the line at the bank today. It sucks, right? But be grateful you have a check to deposit in the bank that day. Okay? The drive home was hell. But be so grateful that you have a car or you got some music to listen to while you're in the car. Now, I know this may sound like corny shit, but I promise you, forcing yourself to say these things in your head will begin to change the way you look at life. I promise you that. Generosity. When you get up to the teller at the bank, after waiting in that god-awful line, remember she's also having a shit day. And the last 5 people were negative and complained to her about how rotten the line is and how about rotten life is. So take a moment, take a look at her. She's tired. Life has beaten her down. She's, shall we say, less attractive. But you can find something, some one positive thing that you can mention to her. Compliment her nails, compliment her hair, her sweater, a piece of jewelry, whatever. It will maybe not change her day, but I promise you she will appreciate it. And you will change that moment for the both of you because positivity begets positivity. It always does. Then on the drive home, on that long traffic-ridden drive home that you're hating, all right? Hopefully you're enjoying your music. Do yourself a favor, okay? And let that car squeeze in ahead of you. Go ahead. Wave it through. Even if the driver was a douche who rode the shoulder on the whole way up to the exit, it's not something to get angry about. And it won't get you home any later. I promise you. You can be confident and happy with yourself just for doing the right thing, doing that little bit of niceness. Getting angry is negative, and negativity, again, begets negativity. And in the end, who really gives a shit anyway? Okay? Make it a habit to always say hello. Please, thank you. Acknowledge other people for what they do. Whether you know them or not, please thank them whenever you can. When I was on the job in the NYPD in the Bronx, you can bet I faced a lot of negativity, and just about every day. But I also met so many beautiful, grateful people who would thank us for the work that we were doing. And it's true, I truly believe it, that one heartfelt thank you can negate 100 negative fuck yous. Now, all this positivity stuff aside, okay, having a negative mental attitude is like a cancer of its own. It drains energy, blocks progress, makes you suspicious, hateful, edgy, robs you of any and all ambition. Don't let the negativity in, and don't let the negativity win. Have faith in yourself, keep hope alive, be strong, be courageous, be generous. kind, positive to others. I promise you the positivity will come back. Certainly not by everyone, but it's not about everyone. It's about you. If you know you are positive, the world will see you in a positive light, and your worries will lessen, your fears will lessen, work will become easier. I know you hate your job, but be happy you have a job. And by all means, keep looking for a new one. I promise you, as time passes, opportunities will always arise, and when they do, take the initiative to take advantage of them. Also, everybody get this. It really doesn't matter where you are in life. I have been crazy poor, dead broke, unemployed, months behind on the rent and on the bills. I've had my heart broken. I've lost jobs. I've lost an entire career. Okay? Made all kinds of terrible decisions, made just god-awful investments, and still, there were always people who had it worse than I did. But it really doesn't matter where you are in life or even how old you are. There is always a tomorrow until the day there isn't. The idea or the saying that you only live once is complete bullshit, all right? The truth of it is you only die once, and you literally live every day. And every day it's up to you, and it's up to your next move, okay? And every day you can choose to do something or choose to do nothing. You can choose to be positive or to be negative. And like my old friend Annie used to sing, after she told us all about her hard knock life, there's always tomorrow. All right, Alex? So there you go. Don't worry for tomorrow, but do know that it's coming, and know that it will give you another chance at positively improving whatever situation you may be in. And that's all I got for you. Practice positivity. Stick with the PMA, a positive mental attitude. Be positive, talk positive, act positive, make positivity a mindset, and don't let all the negative bastards get you down. Good luck with your life and your daughter, and please give my best to your sister. And in her case, be grateful that it is 2026. If she were sick 40 years ago, there was a good chance this cancer of hers may have been a death sentence. But medicine has come a long, long way, and I'm sure her doctor will fix her up. I have had so many friends and family, even my baby sister Natasha, go through this. It's most certainly a negative experience, but it's one I know you can handle. I know you can. Good luck with it all, dear. And on that note, we're going to take a little break, and then we'll be back in 2 minutes for question number 2. Hey, how you doing? It's me again, another nobody, Tavis Myers. And today we're going to talk whiskey. I know most of you think of me as an all-American patriotic type guy, and you are right. But when it comes to whiskey and drinking whiskey, which I do, I always go for the Irish stuff. And my choice when it comes to the Irish stuff is Powers Irish Whiskey. Established back in 1791, it's a triple distilled, oak-aged whiskey. Powers is simply magic. It also happens to be the #1 selling whiskey in Ireland, which has got to say something, because if it's good enough for the Irish, it's good enough for you. So the next time you raise a glass, fill it with Powers, and think of me, another nobody, Tavis Myers. This is a 2024 American Eagle gold coin, which I bought along with several others last year. I'm very happy to report that its value has gone up over 40% in the first year. See, I was encouraged to buy some gold by a financial advisor friend who suggested I be more diversified with my investments. She said gold and silver was a very safe place to park some money, as well as a good hedge against inflation. So I took her advice, and all I can say is I wish I had bought more, as it's been so very, very good to us so far. Now, I purchased these gold coins from the good people over at stackingboise.com, who could not have been nicer, more knowledgeable, or more helpful. Now, I'm certainly no financial expert, but I will say from experience, if you're looking to make an investment, buy yourself some gold. And some real gold that you could hold in your hand, just like this coin you see here. And if you do, then do like I did and get with the good folks over at stackingboise.com. I'm telling you, they're good people, they took good care of me, and they'll take good care of you. Again, that's stackingboise.com. And hey, tell them Travis sent you. Okay, everybody, we are back, and here we go with question number 2. Sent into questiontravistoday@gmail.com. This one is by Allison O. of Crystal Lake, Illinois, who asks, Travis, what can police do about the violence and the murder rate in Chicago? I grew up there, I loved it, but now refuse to visit because it's become so dangerous. Oh, man. Allison, we could talk for hours about this, as there are so many things that need to be done, not only in Chicago, but in cities all across the nation. Once proud, beautiful cities who have now sadly allowed themselves to deteriorate and degenerate into dangerous, lawless shitholes, all right? I get these kind of questions all the time, and I have these kinds of discussions with people constantly, all right, all the time, Allison. And as complicated and expensive as the steps would be to correct the downward trajectory and lawlessness of cities like Chicago, my answer always comes down to the same 2 words, and that is simply political will. I answered a similar question a few weeks ago on episode 48 about the narcotics trade. It is all political will, Allison. You see, crime and police work really has nothing to do with the police. And I know that sounds odd, but let me explain, okay? Police officers and detectives all the way up the line to your police chiefs and your police commissioners are nothing more than tools, okay? They are tools that are used or not used by your mayor's office and by the district attorney's office, both of which are elected officials to address and curb crime in whatever municipality they serve. So, I want to talk a couple things here that have been going on for decades in America, Canada, a lot of Europe as well. We have listeners over there too, and believe me when I tell you, Chicago is not the only major city in the world going through some very serious lawlessness. First, we'll talk about political will and or the lack of it. Then we'll talk about the decimation of police departments nationwide. All right? So, political will. Over the past, 50, 60 years, many of our finest cities here in the United States have just completely fallen from grace. And there are many reasons for this. Most usually, there is an economic side where whatever industry that once built a city has now shrunk and or has completely left that city altogether. This is what crushed much of what is now known as the Rust Belt, where our politicians and big businesses, in their infinite wisdom and filthy greed, found that they could turn a bigger profit by sending American jobs overseas to third world countries. Also, through different trade deals, bring in more and more imports from foreign countries, thereby crippling the surviving American employers and again crushing thousands of communities all across the nation. With this came more and more pockets of ever-growing poverty, okay? And then, of course, comes the drugs. The drugs follow, then the crime, and with the crime comes the big one, which is what you were asking about, Allison, the homicides, okay? Now, this is a very simple and cursory, if you will, introduction to a very large national problem. But to stick to the question, what can the police do about homicides in Chicago? The police can all but put a complete end to it, Allison, if the current mayor, Brandon Johnson, or the last mayor, Lori Lightfoot, or Rahm Emanuel before her, or anybody else had simply made keeping the city of Chicago's residents safe their number one priority. It would be a much safer city today if any one of them had cared about crime at all. They do not. So yes, if Chicago were to elect a mayor that gave a shit about the safety of its people, it could and would again be a much, much safer city than it is today. But instead, most of these cities are run by idiot ideologues and outright scammers who constantly pander to the non-existent problems in society, things that have nothing to do with their common constituency, the common voter. They do this in order to garner headlines and the votes of the misguided, wealthy, upper middle class who in general don't have to worry about street crime, subway crime, the carjackings, drug dealers moving into their buildings, robberies or homicides at all. They don't care about that shit. And if it sounds like I'm getting a little political here, it's because I am. Now, I absolutely hate all this left versus right, red versus blue nonsense. I hate it. It's so stupid and divisive, and it never solves any problems. Okay? And so I really do like to avoid politics when talking about crime because I often think it skews the thought process. And ultimately, the problem solving needed to fix the problems these cities are facing. And in the end, save the lives that need saving. But the numbers simply do not lie. All right? And I encourage everybody to please don't take Travis's word for it. Don't take my word for it. Look it up for yourselves. If you look up the top 20 major cities in America with the highest rates of violent crime, you will find that they are all run by members of the Democrat Party. And in most cases, all have consistently had Democrat mayors for decades. The same goes for cities with the worst public school education systems, where 18 of the top 20 are run by Democrats. And of the 2 run by Republican mayors, Fresno, California, and Dallas, Texas, Eric Johnson was an incumbent Democrat who only recently switched parties. So, in the end, I have to say, and I absolutely hate to say it, but it's a simple fact, the current progressive, left-leaning, law and order hating, oftentimes graft-loving party who has been running the show in most of these cities for over 50 years now has run these cities right into the ground. And that is a very simple fact. And it's a fact that I hate. But before we get into all the poverty talk and how poverty causes crime, which it absolutely does, I also want to get into this. I want to tell you that West Virginia, the second most impoverished state in the nation after Mississippi, also happens to be one of the safest states in the entire nation. Granted, the population of Chicago is actually larger than that of the entire state of West Virginia, but the median income of Chicago is 25% higher. The poverty rate per 100,000 is just about equal at 17 and 18%. Now, poverty being equal, and poverty, the number one precursor to crime being established, violent crime in Chicago is 3 times higher per 100,000 than it is in all of West Virginia. So is poverty the problem? Or has Chicago simply been without any sort of meaningful leadership for so long that in so many neighborhoods it's simply become a complete lawless free-for-all? Where once a proud but now emasculated, degraded, and humiliated police department exists without clear leadership from the mayor's office or from the district attorney's office. I say it's the latter. I say that's the case, and I say this as a police officer and detective who worked in the Bronx under Mayor Giuliani's tenure as mayor of New York City, and was part of taking that city from 2,262 homicides under Mayor Dinkins to 649 homicides 8 years later under Giuliani. It can be done, and it's not hard. It's not a hard recipe to follow. All Mayor Johnson or any mayor has to do is to say no to crime and tell his police department to enforce the law. Have his district attorney prosecute the crimes the police bring to his office. If the second poorest state in the United States can be one of the safest states in the nation, then Chicago, one of the wealthiest cities in America, can absolutely be and should strive to be one of the safest cities in the world. But the mayor's office and the district attorney's office of Chicago simply continue to say no to law and order. They absolutely allow the chaos by not stemming violence and drug-related crimes. They are indeed encouraging them. Yes, mayors of all major cities across the nation, by not acting against crime, are quite literally encouraging it. Again, it's all political will. It's all political will. And all we the people can do is to vote. Vote for the mayors, the district attorneys who will be hard on crime. That's it, Allison. That's all I got on the subject of Chicago's murder problem. I hope my answer satisfies you, or maybe sheds a little light on the tragedy of Chicago and so many other American cities that have actually fared far worse. Without strong, caring leadership, all is lost. And that's all I got this week. Until next time, please do the right thing and hit that subscribe button, will you? It helps us out a lot when you do. It really does. And come take a listen next week when we'll do it all again. That's all I got. All the best, my friends. Hey, how you doing? Another nobody here, Tavis Myers. This one's going out in particular to all my drinking friends out there, because I got a new favorite thing, and it's called Shanky's Whip, and it is magical. It's Irish whiskey mixed with a little caramel, a little cream, a little vanilla, and it's heavenly. What more can I say? I suggest you pick up a bottle. You can have it as a shot with a cold beer, like I like. On the rocks, it's great. Mix it with a little cola. I promise you, you're going to love this stuff. Next time you raise a glass, think of me, another nobody, Tavis Myers. Hey, do the right thing. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more of my nonsense. All the best, my friends.
Buy our books!
Hey there, true crime fans. Let me introduce you today to the Cold Case Initiative. The Cold Case Initiative is a foundation that donates money to smaller police agencies all over the country. It does this in order to offset the costs of scientific, forensic, and DNA testing with the hope of solving cold case homicides and other horrific violent crimes that otherwise would remain unsolved. Please, if you have it in your heart and a little money to spare, go to www.coldcaseinitiative.org. Again, that's www.coldcaseinitiative.org, and lend a hand where it truly is needed. Be a part of solving a cold case. Every little bit helps. Know that 100% of the donations that go to the Cold Case Initiative go to agencies that are desperately in need of the help. So please, if you can, do the right thing and make a donation. Thanks, and all the best, my friends.